and welcome to NDTV Profit. My name is Varsha. Well, Dr. Lal PathLabs is in focus. This is on the back of Q3 FY26 numbers. A steady set of numbers that the company has seen. The growth was led by volume expansion and deeper tier 3 and 4 penetration. Swasthfit, contributed almost 26% in year to date FY26 sales. EBITDA was led by volume growth, network expansion and favorable mix. Well, to speak more about numbers and what lies ahead, I'm here joined by Mr. Shankha Banerjee, who is the CEO at Dr. Lal PathLabs. Well, Mr. Banerjee, welcome at NDTV Profit. Always pleasure to have you. The more focus today for Dr. Dr. Lal PathLab is on volume growth over price hikes. What is the volume growth expected, in FY26 overall and FY27, and can we expect low teens volume growth overall?
Yeah, hi Varsha, thanks for having me. As I've been saying all along, the volume we measure through two parameters. One is the sample volume growth, and second is the patient visits in terms of volume. So our sample volume growth YTD 9 months of this year is about 9.6%, which is quite close to 10%, and our patient volume growth is close to about 4.5%. So I think going forward, we are seeing at least close to double-digit sample volume growth, which we think will be sustainable going forward as well. And on the patient volume front, I think we are looking at inching upwards towards 5% or slightly better. I think that's the volume part of the story, because all the revenue growth that we see is still primarily driven by volumes.
Understood. And so FY26 EBITDA margin guidance have been given at 27-28%. Any change in this guidance you want to uptake? What's the outlook when it comes to EBITDA margin overall for 26? And of course now 27 is also the major focus. What about margins in 27 as well?
So FY26, our margin guidance of 27 to 28% remains, but that will be, let's say, after the exceptional cost that we've taken due to the new labor codes. That's it's slightly maybe better than what we had envisaged at the beginning of the year, but more or less in line. And for next year, we still haven't worked out the full numbers. Maybe during our next conversation, I'll be able to share more light on the next year numbers.
Got it. And Mr. Banerjee, when it comes to Swasthfit, which contributes 26% of the total revenues, where do you see this stabilizing in the long term? What's the target that you have set for the overall contribution when it comes to Swasthfit?
So we don't set a target for Swasthfit contribution. Actually, it's again a part of our organic growth strategy. And the good thing we see is that, even in smaller towns, we see traction building around Swasthfit. And as we continue to increase our geographic access, whether it is through the new labs we are opening or the collection network expansion that we see building up, the traction is continuing. I think at an overall level, if preventive health, as we see, is kind of becoming more common, and the and usage of health packages is increasing, which we see across the industry, I think there is still quite a lot of headroom available for this contribution to grow.
Understood. And on that note, sir, how do you defend Swasthfit, from aggressive pricing by new age digital players?
So we have consistently stayed away from, running it as a pricing-led initiative. I think it is more of a bundle testing, offering that we say. And, given the kind of quality and the distribution that we aim to achieve, and we are also looking at it at a very sustainable level. And if we need to keep a sustainable growth with the right margin mix, I think we are quite well placed in terms of the pricing that we are offering. It is at a discount to the individual tests anyway within our portfolio, but we are not right now looking at reducing prices or trying to match prices with some of the aggressive pricing posture which maybe some of the competitors have taken.
Understood. And so, the high-end tests like genomics, oncology, or rare diseases, they are actually growing. What percentage of revenue can these reach over the next 3 to 5 years?
You see, in terms of the high-end testing, it helps, for us to build the clinician experience as well as our ability to really solve complex diagnostic conditions. And what we see is that, in terms of the therapy and patient management or patient life cycle, not only are the high-end tests required, but post the diagnosis of critical illnesses, the patient management also requires a set of routine tests to happen. So, therefore, the ratio of high end to the overall portfolio will remain more or less consistent over a period of time.
Got it. And so, how is Q4 looking like? I mean, overall, you have given 11 to 13% of revenue guidance. One is how is Q4 looking out, and the other is will you maintain this or you want to inch it up? Any change in guidance?
So we had given an annual revenue guidance of 11 to 12%. Our YTD growth is somewhere around 10.8%. I think we are staying with our 11 to 12% revenue guidance for the year, and we are quite confident that we'll be able to achieve that.
That's right. And so, lastly, yesterday, we saw the highlights of the budget as well, and 5 medical tourism hubs will be established in partnership with the private sector. Just wanted to understand how you're viewing this, information, and what's the opportunity for Dr. Lal PathLabs.
So I think the announcement is welcome. It's quite a positive intent, which I think the government has shown in terms of building the medical infrastructure and this talk about 5 medical hubs. I think we will study it's kind of very fresh in terms of the news. We will study the details and see how best we can leverage that.